The Rector's report for the year 2019. Unless the Lord build the house, they who build it labor in vain. Psalm 127, verse 1. 2019 has been another wonderful and joyous year in serving as your rector. Over the past year, we shared many hopes and dreams, concerns and questions, and sorrows and joys. My hope is that through it all, I was able to affirm that I am here with you, I care for you, and that I have a deep appreciation for your gifts, support, and your dedication to Christ and His church. Last year, we continued to experience growth in our parish. We welcomed several families into the parish, including Kieran Worth, Angie Patty, the Santise family, and the Machini family. Others, such as the Bethune family and Jim Shelley, were welcomed last year. However, in true St. George's spirit, we officially welcomed all of them at our annual Newcomers Breakfast on November 17th. To our new families, I hope and pray that you feel welcome and are aware that you are indeed a very important part of our life and mission here at St. George's. My prayer for our wider church is that we will continue to grow numerically and spiritually by the grace of God. Other celebrations included the baptism of little Nora Carden and the precious Cara Michelle Whitbecker. Consistent with Nora's vivacious and princess personality, we baptized her in a blow-up pool at our annual church picnic. We further welcomed Eva Taylor Hartland, the beautiful and third daughter of Tom and Amy Hartland. Congratulations to you, Tom and Amy, and we pray for her steadfast growth and nurture in the knowledge and love of the Lord. Over the past 7 years, I've had the wonderful opportunity to share in many celebrations with you, especially weddings of your children and family. In December of last year, I was therefore elated to officiate the marriage of Lauren Ritter and Christopher De Filippo, daughter and son-in-law of Mike and Kelly Ritter. It was an absolutely flawless night, and we will forever remember the exquisite, fine and flowing champagne. We'll forever remember the joy and fun had by all. Congratulations, Lauren and Chris. You're a beautiful bride, and we wish you all God's blessings and richness of joy in your marriage. Last year, we also took initiatives to build our youth program. Nicholas Lutton was therefore appointed as youth director. We also had our inaugural summer empowerment camp under the able leadership of Stacey Nolan and Andy Cunningham, along with many others. We hope that with other efforts in the ensuing year, our roots will continue to be firmly planted in this community as a church that believes that young people are an integral part of our church, the church of today and the hope of the church tomorrow. As with every family, however, there is struggle, hurt, and pain. Our hearts were deeply grieved when we lost Sandra Duffy and Louise Holliday. Their faith in God was inspiring, and their faithfulness and dedication were as well. Our burial ministry extended beyond our sanctuary walls, and we laid to rest a well-known softball coach and very encouraging individual, Mr. C.J. Holler, father of Kelly Ritter and father-in-law of Mike Ritter. All of these members will be truly missed. May they rest in peace. We also bade farewell to a longtime church member, Sandy Kirkland, who relocated to Texas to live with his daughter. We wish to assure Sandy of our continued prayers and well wishes. Perhaps our greatest struggle last year was an inconsistency in attendance. Some days, it seemed as if we could throw several stones in the nave of the church and not hit one person. I truly understand that life gets in the way, And so my intent here is not to condemn anyone, but I do believe it is and was symbolic of a little complacency that may have set in. Complacency as a church and complacency on my part. My intent, therefore, in mentioning this, is for us to arrest a spirit of complacency in our lives and in this church, to uproot the devil's footholds wherever they may be, and to inspire us to reclaim a spirit of enthusiasm and fervency as we worship the Lord in spirit and in truth. With that goal in mind, at the close of this decade, I wish to highlight several areas of profound growth in our parish and to offer a brief vision for 2020 and beyond. In the past 7 years, I served as your rector. The financial position of St. G's improved incrementally. This improvement is owed to the faithfulness and the sacrificial giving and offering by members and leaders alike. Not only have we ended each year in the black, but we also were able to stop the financial hemorrhage in which we often use designated building capital funds to cover budget expenses in previous years. In 2013, we made a tough decision to end this practice and to use the remaining $200,000 from the building campaign fund in a more judicial manner. Foremost, we received permission from all donors to repurpose the money. Subsequently, we placed $100,000 into an investment fund that is now approximately up to $115,000. We were also able to establish an emergency fund of $15,000. We then used the remaining funds to repair the parking lot and the roof of the church, install a proper air conditioning and heating system, make small improvements to the kitchen, and complete several other small projects around the church. We were also able to replace the drywall ceiling in our church with tongue and groove wood, although funding for this project was secured by other means and through the efforts of Tom Custance. Further, we were able to erase two substantial financial deficits in 2015 and recently in 2019. In 2015, we overcame a $9,000 deficit and most recently a $5,000 deficit to ensure that we did not end the year in arrears. This is all owed to the generosity and the wonderful giving of you, the members of St. George's. To date, I'm told that we have the largest pledged amount that our parish has seen in the past 7 years. Over those 7 years, we've also achieved what seemed unthinkable at times. For instance, I was made your full-time rector. We also introduced our county-renowned bingo. We have remained in touch with the community in many ways via so many outreach programs, including helping the Westminster Rescue Mission, making financial and other donations to NESAP, feeding the employees at Longview, and conducting a food kitchen for 1 year in Westminster. We also sent supplies and letters to troops abroad over the years, just to name a few of the ways in which we stayed in touch. Some of these initiatives we hope to revisit and to continue. They are also an indication of how we have striven to stay connected to the community. For all of this, we say, to God be the glory, great things he has done. I continue to pray for the grace and favor of God on members who make the work of this church possible by the proper stewardship of your time, talent, and treasure. As we move forward, therefore, we have nothing to fear for the future, lest we forget how our God has led us in the past. With that, I present to you a brief vision for 2020 and beyond. It seems like only yesterday that I stood before you at the dawn of a new chapter in the storied history of this church. I thank God in my prayers always for blessing me with the opportunity to be your rector. Well, not always, but most days. And I believe that our best days as a parish are still ahead of us. We are a wonderful parish with so much potential. And what I have come to know and truly believe is that God has blessed us and continues to bring us from a mighty long way. We celebrate the beginning of a new decade under what we believe to be the able and providential leadership of our God. As we look ahead in 2020, it will be imperative that the psalmist's words remain before us. Unless the Lord builds the house, they who build it labor in vain. Let's embrace this admonition. Let's embrace the mantra, better before bigger. To this end, and to address some improvements to our infrastructure and our physical structure, I have outlined Vision 2020 in a brief way. There are several key areas of focus. 1, a renovation plan. 2, 4 basic and essential ministries, including Christian formation, evangelism and outreach, youth, and communications. And 3, a financial plan. First, our renovation plan. The phrase cleanliness is next to godliness is not an actual biblical statement, but it is nonetheless true. This year and the next, we will therefore be looking to do some renovations to our church to clean things up a bit, including our bathrooms, kitchen, parish hall, flooring, and to paint the interior of the buildings, save the nave of the church. Second, essential ministries. First, Christian formation. My hope is to establish a more consistent Bible study and to offer more teachings that will help persons find their lives wonderfully expanded by a fresh and vital encounter with God. Youth. My hope is to build an awareness of the importance of youth ministry for every young member of the church, to provide opportunities exclusive of Sunday school and confirmation that will enrich the Christ-like spiritual lives of our youth. 3, outreach and evangelism. The work of redemption and the future of our presence in this community and the love of Christ compel us to greater aspirations and evangelistic efforts to meet the human needs in a changing environment and to give assistance to persons in crisis, both family and individual. Therefore, I hope that we can continue to develop a systematic and ongoing program for social outreach in our immediate area. Communication. My hope is that we will continue to build on the communication plan the vestry set in place a few years back as we work to increase our social media presence. Finally, our financial plan. In the past 7 years, we have requested financial assistance from the diocese. Recently, they challenged us to do something with this seemingly growing dependency. And so, in further conversation with the vestry, I will invite each member over the course of the next 5 years to contribute $1,000. That's $200 per year, $3 per week, 55 cents per day, to at least start a fund, an endowment, a trust of sorts, so that we can build a financially stable church and engage in greater ministries. This vision is a brief version of what I hope to produce as a booklet in short order. But given our time restraints, I conclude this report in salute to the hard-working parishioners of this church. Many thanks to the commission heads, the vestry, the altar guild, the acolytes, the lay readers, the choirs, the musicians, everyone who helps out in any way, you the members of our great church, and every little child that continues to add joy to our church and to my life. To the outgoing vestry members, Ifai Nanake and Debbie Fiakos, thank you for your contribution. However, I want to publicly and personally thank 2 individuals in particular. First, our outgoing warden, Fred Swain. Fred has served for the past 7 years with distinction and grace. Over those years, I felt totally supported by Fred. Fred, your work in the healing and forward advancement of this parish has been nothing but exceptional. Thank you, and I look forward to your continued contribution. I also want to say a special thank you to Stacy Nolan, our registrar for the past 5 years. Your ability to produce substantive notes, yet in a concise manner, your quiet demeanor, and your wonderful personality have made serving with you on the vestry a great and joyful thing. Thank you, Stacy, for the hard work that you have put in. You've certainly left some big shoes to fill, and I look forward to your continued work in this parish. May God bless you in your future endeavors. I also want to thank our parish administrator, Joanne O'Brien, who has provided me with rock-solid support and given of her best to this parish. Sadly, after almost 20 years of service, Joanne will retire this year. She has been a vital part in the smooth running of our parish, in the smooth running of the day-to-day operation of our church. Her easygoing personality and joyous demeanor will be greatly missed. And therefore, I thank her for all that she has done. This week, we will begin the search for her replacement. Finally, thank you to my family and friends whose support means so much and have been an incredible part of my kinship community. Your wisdom, prayers, support, daily encouragement, and love help to keep me grounded and focused. I am eternally grateful to and for you. Above all, I thank God, for without God, none of this would be possible. Truly, I live and move and have my being in Him. St. George's. May we continue to advance in mission and excel in service. In the words of the Apostle Paul, may we never be lacking in zeal. Keep our spiritual fervor and serve the Lord always. May we be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer. And may we walk boldly into the next decade and do so with the assurance that what is impossible with humankind is possible with Almighty God. Thank you, and God bless.